I've always been an avid camper. And last summer I decided to take a solo trip to the mountains. I arrived at the campsite late in the evening, just as the sun was setting. The air was crisp and clean, and the only sounds were the chirping of crickets and the distant howling of wolves. I set up my tent and started a fire, feeling a sense of peace and solitude wash over me. As I sat by the fire, I noticed that the howling seemed to be getting closer, but I didn't think much of it. I've heard wolves before, and I knew they wouldn't bother me. As the night wore on, I started to feel a creeping sense of unease. The howling had stopped, and the silence was oppressive. I tried to shake off the feeling, telling myself I was just spooked from being alone in the woods. But as I lay in my tent, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. I heard twigs snapping and leaves rustling, and I knew I wasn't alone. At first, I thought it might be a raccoon or a stray dog, but then I heard my name. "Hello," I called out, my voice trembling. There was no response, but the rustling got louder. I fumbled for my flashlight and shone it into the darkness, but there was nothing. Suddenly, the rustling stopped, and I was left with an eerie silence. I tried to calm myself down, telling myself it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. But then, I heard my name again. This time, it was louder, and it sounded like it was right outside my tent. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. I knew I had to get out of there. But as I crawled out of my tent, I saw something that made my blood run cold. There was a figure standing in front of me, its eyes glowing in the dark. I tried to scream, but my voice was caught in my throat. The figure started to move towards me, its eyes fixed on me with an unspeakable hunger. I turned and ran, not stopping until I was back in my car, speeding away from the campsite as fast as I could. I didn't stop until I was back in the city, surrounded by the safety of crowds and buildings. I never went camping again, and I never told anyone about what happened that night. But sometimes, in the dead of night, I still hear my name being called, and I know that I'll never be able to escape the horror that I encountered in those woods. It's been years since that night, but the memory still haunts me. I've tried to convince myself it was just a wild animal or a hallucination, but deep down, I know what I saw, and I know that I'll never be able to go back to those woods again. I've been having these dreams lately, where I'm back in those woods, and the figure is chasing me. I wake up in a cold sweat, my heart racing. I've tried to talk to people about it, but they just think I'm crazy. Maybe I am. Maybe I did imagine the whole thing. But the fear I felt that night was real, and it's a fear that I'll never be able to shake. I've tried to move on with my life, but the memory of that night still lingers. I've started to notice strange things happening around me. Doors creaking open, shadows moving out of the corner of my eye. I've started to feel like I'm being watched again, just like I was that night in the woods. I don't know what's going on, but I know I need to get to the bottom of it. I've started to research the history of the campsite, trying to find out if anyone else has had similar experiences. What I found was shocking. There have been reports of strange occurrences and sightings in those woods for decades. People have gone missing, and some have even reported seeing shadowy figures lurking in the trees. I don't know what's going on, but I know I need to be careful. I've started to feel like I'm being pulled back to those woods, like something is calling to me. I know I shouldn't go back, but a part of me wants to. I want to face whatever is out there, to confront the horror that I encountered that night. But I'm scared. I'm scared of what I might find. And I'm scared of what might find me. I don't know what the future holds, but I know I need to be prepared. I've started to carry a flashlight with me wherever I go. And I've even started to learn self-defense. I know it's not much, but it's a start. I'm not going to let fear control my life. I'm going to face it head on, no matter what horrors await me.